Hi, I'm Adam Meyer, Mill City Lutheran in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And in this video, we've got a pretty heavy duty repair here. This Abasi guitar came in, and this was dropped, owner claims only about a foot. Not very far. You can see there's damage here. But we've got a major crack in the body, also through the back here. Previous to this, he was having problems with the neck shifting around. So I'm going to go through kind of diagnose what I have to do to get this all clamped back together and glued up. There are a lot of little finish cracks, which I'm not going to be able to do because they're just so tight. The only way to be able to do that is to sand it off, and then we got to deal with all this. The idea is an affordable repair. We're not going to get carried away trying to make this look like nothing happened to it, because that's kind of impossible without like a really high budget on this. So first step, got to tear it all apart and find out what's going on. So what we're currently looking at before taking anything apart, we've got a major crack going through underneath the lowest string here. This has been knocked loose. Goes through the pickup cavities, follows along here. This pickup has come loose and follows up into the neck pocket. This is the ding up here. This is kind of secondary. This is one of the things when instruments like this come in, I always tell the customer, this is the last thing to worry about. Your guitar isn't going to play whether or not this is repaired. Your guitar is going to play whether or not this gets repaired. So we got to do this first, then we'll worry about making the ding look good. Get a look at the back here. The crack starts along all the way down in here, follows next to the neck screw holes, and you can kind of tell that the body is kind of folding in this area. Hasn't broken apart. So I've stripped the guitar down. Lucky enough, I can quick connect pickups. I can just pull them out of the routes. I can put everything else inside the control cavity here. So just trying to stay budget conscious on this. I'm not going to end up doing any soldering other than reconnecting the battery box and the output jack. So let's take a look at what we have here. Now, one thing that's a big surprise right off the top, just how easily I can open this up. That'll be relatively easy to clamp up. And if you can see here, just if I kind of flex down, I can get it to close all the way. So that's a really good sign. Try and show you here. Okay, flip this over. The body, see there's a gap there in the middle. So it's doing this. It's kind of like opening up like a book. So I'm going to have to, of course, practice clamping this up. I'm thinking that all I'll need to do is make a little table for this, or find some sort of table roughly the size of the body. Definitely pad the sides here, or have bars that are up off there, a little raised. And then I should be able to just apply pressure through the middle, and that will cause the crack to just close back together, and we can get it to glue up nice. Now, for the neck pocket crack, as you can see, this is going along here. This one really doesn't want to open up much. It's going right through here on the inside. And checking my camera. I know where it is. I can see it, but you may not be. This one is the one that's a little concerning. I'm still kind of debating if if I'm even going to be able to get wood glue in there, if I should just do this with epoxy. I'm thinking that because of this, I'm leaning towards doing epoxy. The T88's a really strong glue. I'll be able to line this here, use a hair dryer, it'll soak in, and I know that there's glue all the way down in there. Over here, if this was all that was cracked on the guitar, this would just be a wood glue repair. That you can work down in there pretty good because it's so open. But I'm going to try practicing clamping this up, and how that goes is going to be the deciding factor. This was what I've devised for clamping this up. So it's just a padded cork board. Well, it's a piece of maple, but there's cork on the underside. I'll wrap this in wax paper so that it doesn't actually get glued to the guitar. But really all I had to do is take a peek under here using a cutting board, and I have 2 thin strips of wood on either edge so that the flat part of the guitar isn't being pressed down. Like under here all the way through, there's a gap, because this whole thing is flexing like you know, opening a book. So I'm just pressing down, and body is clamped to the workbench, so I can wiggle this open. And I've got a really thin palette knife. I use this for glue removal and some other things, and applying glue into seams. But as you can see, I can flex this. Even though this knife is still really thin, I can't get it down into those cracks. So I'm going to have to use, just going to use a feeler gauge. This definitely gets down in there. You can get these at auto parts stores. And they're pretty cheap. If it gets all bent up or anything, you can get new ones for pretty cheap. But along here, this is just too tight to use a different tool other than this. And also we've got here in the pickup route, we've got a crack right there. And that's also too thin to get something else, a different tool in there. Then the big cracks here. And so yeah, definitely be using this with the hair dryer and some epoxy. This is just too tight. Looking at this from a different angle, see the major crack up here. I can obviously get feeler gauge way deep in there. It kind of curves a little bit back here. But this is going to be no problem at all getting glue in there. Same through here. Then again, we run into the problem with in the pickup cavity. Let's see here. There. You can just barely get feeler gauge in there. But it does go deep. So it's going to be a very carefully wiggling this, getting the glue right on the crack, trying to get everything to squish down in there. This is another one where it's going deep. It's a lot of curves in it. So just got to, you know, yeah, this goes real deep. Just got to put the time in. It's going to take a while to get this all done up right. But it looks like a pretty easy one. Just really glad this didn't break off, because with all these different corners and stuff, trying to clamp it together and have it not slide around, that could be a challenge. This should go together really well. the construction of this guitar, what we have is the body is one primary wood. Then on top, there's a decorative veneer. It's like a, not paper thin, but really, really thin wood put on top. And from this, you can see there's a little piece of the wood, that veneer is missing. So I cannot like just restain this and have it with these kind of the flame stripes of the maple in there. I'm just going to have to try and use, some green dot stain, try and color it. I'm going to use a little bit of the blue, and it's just going to have to be filled in. There you go. Successfully done. Was not that big of a job, but just need to plan it out, practice clamping it without any glue, make sure that it's going to be secure. Many times when you're trying to glue something together, the glue will actually act as a lubricant and things will want to slip apart. Not the case with this type of guitar or this type of repair, but still you want to practice it first and make sure that everything is going to turn out fine. The corner there, that ding turned out better than I expected. You can obviously tell that it's a repair because, as I showed before, there's a veneer and that the pieces are gone and I can't recreate that. So any questions about this or any other repairs, my contact information is in the About section of my channel, and we'll see you next time.